Hey, what's up there, guys? It is Rapmark here. So, doing my review for Season 2, Episode 2 of The Bad Batch. This one called Ruins of War. And man, let me tell you, so I might make some callbacks to the first one because, again, these two did release at the same time. I'm going to try to keep us focused on Season 2 for the breakdown, but for just the overall story thing, I may include callbacks to episode 1, just so you know. But what did I think of this episode? This episode was actually, it was really good. While I'll say I still have concerns in terms of some elements of the story, um, like per se, what is Crosshair doing? Obviously, he lied. I mean, is there going to be some like? But he got picked up by the Empire, but they all died. He clearly lied. If he's still working for the Empire, is something going to happen between him and Admiral Rampart? Because now that he knows that they're alive, um, so I'm wondering on how that all is explained. Um, and once again, I do like that Omega seems to have grown into her own. You know, she's still young, she's still naive and impulsive, but she's not as grating as she was in the first season. I'm still not hugely sold on the whole like dad patch thing that I hear so much about. It's just never been one of my favorite things of this series. Uh, yeah, that aspect of it just isn't for me. But I do like it when there are some close heart to heart moments, like we saw in the first one with Hunter and Echo about Omega, and then at the end of the second one, there's also another heart to heart with Echo and Omega, which was super sweet. I did enjoy it. Um, so once again, she's not as grating. I still see some elements that I'm just like, but I'm giving it a chance. She is a lot better. She has grown on me a little bit more. I was just never the biggest fan of the whole, again, like, four guys and a baby kind of thing. um, it just wasn't my favorite part. Another thing I loved about this episode and just this sort of premiere is how much they included Echo as well as Tech in these episodes, especially episode 2. The first season they really took a side seat. Like barely mentioned at all. Whereas, these past 2 episodes, they have really like come into it, and I actually really really enjoy that. Because it's showing, um, it's giving them more of a due. It seems more you get to know more about them as individuals and so forth and so on. And then there's another thing, like how it builds up Wrecker as well. He loves his explosions. He loves to go in. He's very not subtle. Uh, a very blunt object that is just designed to smash things. But, I don't think people realize that, yeah, he is an expert at what he does, which is demolitions, explosions, and stuff like that. And there's a scene in episode 2 that really shows that he is really intelligent when it comes to his fields. And essentially, yeah, like I'll get into that in the breakdown, but yeah, I really enjoyed that. And also, and this pertains to both episodes, I liked the whole concept. It was really beat upon in the second episode, but kind of touched upon in the first. But the whole concept of like, um, they're Serenians, not separatists. You know, they did exist before the war. Like the whole thought that before the war, you know, each planet literally was had its own culture, its own thing. You know, the galaxy spanning war of the separatists versus the republic, until it was overthrown by the empire. Uh, you know, it sort of blotted out a lot of that, and all these planets, they have their own, again, their own cultures, their own civilizations, their own species. It's so I really like that, and I like how the end of episode two, which I'll get into again in the episode breakdown, again shows like the decline, like how the empire sort of like really declined, and you know was doomed to fail because essentially of people, you know, climbing the ladder, not wanting to tell the truth because you know they didn't want to be tortured or dead or even derailed from career paths. And you saw that in Andor as well. Um, so I like that. I like how overall how dark it actually was too. Like I've always been a fan of the darkness. Like it's still fun, you know. And I would say this is definitely more of what I wanted season one to be, so far. You know, still fun, but at the same time, you know, talks about serious subject matter and definitely has a darker tone than season one had for sure. I mean, with the exception of the last couple episodes where Camino was bombarded and you see it just go down into the sea. Well, not Camino, but Tapoca, Tapoca City, I think. Yeah. Anyway, and again, you hear a little bit more about Dooku, and there's been a lot of stuff about Dooku lately, which I am a fan about. Because once again, I do see him as a very complex character, a character who is a victim in many ways, um, and a very tragic character at that. So yeah, super fun. Like, what did I think of this episode as a whole? So the first one I gave an 8 out of 10, and this one I'm also going to give an 8 out of 10. There was one point where it's just like, and I really hope that it feeds into my concerns with the series, which I'll briefly go into. So I, as much as it feels a little bit more earned, and the writing was definitely better. Good lord, the music was amazing. But anyway, I want them to stop relying on Omega as sort of a device to get the Bad Batch into peril, and that happened again this one. It wasn't as grating. It was better written, and again, it felt more earned. But again, I watched the first season really, so I kind of want them to step away from. And I don't know, maybe if I had gotten the year and a half that most people did, um, maybe it wouldn't hit me as hard. But it has, and while it's not the biggest of deals, it is something I do want to mention. I don't want her to be again the focal point of peril, that of bringing peril to, you know, the team. So I hope that they can wander away from that. We'll see. Um, yeah, let's see what else. Yeah, I think that is it. Oh, and again, you know, certain explaining of, you know, what Crosshair's doing, how his relationship is with the empire, as well as Admiral Rampart, because he clearly lied if he's still working for the Empire. Um, so yeah. Uh, so yeah, let's go into the episode breakdown. So after the the cliffhanger of the first episode, so they go into the the thrusters do come on. They do save them essentially. There was some weird writing in this, in my opinion, because in the first one, it's just like she says they should have gone on already, and then everyone's freaking out. Whereas in the second one, there's another line of which is just like, I don't know if they're just replaying time but using different lines or whatever, but it's just like they should be on any soon. And it's just like, wait a second, didn't you just say in the last episode a few minutes ago, seconds ago, whatever, that they should have gone on already? So a little bit of a writing discrepancy there. Again, not the biggest deal. I can kind of get over it. Like I said, it can be justified, but it is an inconsistency, which, again, I am bringing up just because I've noticed it. So, anyway, so they get out, and the thing falls off of a cliff. Very very crutch. Oh my gosh! So when they were falling, though, like you see this cargo like coming towards them, because I think it's like Tech is on the outside, and Omega and Echo are on the inside of sort of this container with a net. Um, and so you see that, and and I immediately just thought back to the episode in Andor with Nemec where he gets crushed. They didn't go that route, but let's just say that kind of did get me up. Let's see, and then after it falls off a cliff, it gets stuck in a tree. They climb out, and man, the animation. Oh, I've like the shots they use. The like it looks way cleaner, way more beautiful, way more detailed than even the first season does. And I mean, if you've gone back to like even the Clone Wars, like the first season of that, as opposed to the last season, you do notice a big difference. So I do actually really enjoy that. So the animation is also good. Um, but yeah, just how big this thing is, and they have to climb out of it. So they do, and but while it falls, a box falls against Tech's leg and breaks his femur. And I'm just like, oh man, yeah, he's limping the rest of the episode. So, I mean, I imagine it must have been. It couldn't have been a clean break. Otherwise, the bone would be protruding. He wouldn't be walking. So it's got to be like a partial fracture, maybe a hairline fracture. But yeah, I mean, it's clearly fractured. He's clearly in pain. He's clearly limping, but he is moving. Which, if it was a total break, that would not be possible. So anyway, uh, um, Omega wants to go and get the treasure now that they're safe, uh, but Echo knows that Imperial scouts will be there soon. They've got to be looking for their treasure, whatever. She wants to. I'll admit I didn't quite get it. I thought they were going to be like, "Oh gosh, is she doing something stupid again? Are we going back to the grayness?" Uh, it was saved. It was saved, but I was kind of worried at the start there. Um, so anyway, they find this sort of survivor of the bombardment there, Ramar. And they talk. He takes them to his place. Where they talk about their next thing. Omega again wants to go back to the treasure. You know, Ramar wants nothing to do with it, and he pretty much explains that he didn't just rob other peoples of outside planets to get his fortune. He robbed his own people on Sereno, and it's just like I don't want anything to do with it. It's blood money essentially, and I thought that was good. Like I liked that whole sort of additional backstory on sort of Dooku's further decline from what he wanted and becoming exactly what he didn't want to. Um, then, so Echo has Omega to keep an eye on the guy. He gives her I forget what it's called, the things that spin with the reflected glass. Anyway, and it's just like she's like, this isn't treasure. It's just like it's a toy. It makes you happy, and that's far better than any treasure. So I like the message given there. There's more to life than just the mission, the money. You know, and growing up, have a little bit of fun. You're just a kid, and she is. So, and then he finds what he's looking for, which is a um, sort of a data recorder of his planet's history. It has a portion of his planet's history and stuff like that. Uh, but it's broken, so he gets tech to help fix it. It's just like a separatist. I forget what he called it, but a separatist sort of like a data recorder, whatever. Um, and just like not separatist. Well, Romar is just like not separatist, Serenian. We did exist before the war, and Dex is just like, I never thought of it that way. Again, and I kind of get that because most of the clones, they literally, the war was all they ever knew. That they were bred to grow up really fast. Most of them were bred during after the battle of the first battle of Geonosis. So it kind of makes sense that it's just like, oh, like these were their these planets all had their own individual names and cultures, and it wasn't just separatists and republic. I mean, it's really kind of dark when you think about it, and the whole Clone Wars, how it just literally reduced everyone, all these unique cultures and peoples and planets, to just separatists and republic. It really kind of sad, what war can actually do. So anyway, after that's done, uh, they discover Omega's gone. She's gone to go get the treasure, and I'm just like I said, they save it, but I gotta say what my thoughts were at the time. Um, and so Echo finds her. Even Tech goes out and his broken leg, and he's just limping along. And Romar's just sort of sitting there, and I'm just like, he's gonna come help at some point. There's no way Tech is gonna be able to handle too much, and I'm just so yeah. But anyway, um, so Echo finds Omega. Has filled her backpack with a bunch of, as she calls the shiny things. They climb out. The container starts falling through the tree, and she drops her bag. It spills some of the shiny things, and then as she's trying to scoop them up, the whole bag just falls over. And she's just like, I can get it. And Echo's just like, it's not important. It's not important. And, she goes, and this is what saved it for me. Like, explains that she heard what Echo and Hunter were talking about in the first episode. And, that's why she's doing this. And Echo is just like, it's not important. Trust me. Let it go. Big Indiana Jones, like him and his father, Indiana, Indiana, let it go as he's reaching down. But yeah, just a really, really deep moment there. And once again, oh my gosh, I have totally lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys. Anyway, so they get out, but Imperial speeders have come, and they are shooting. They shoot the rope down, and then a clone V fighter comes out, and it's just craziness. So anyway, Tech is able to stun the a couple clones on the big guns, and then he gets pinned down. Another clone flanks him, and then you hear shots. You don't see anything off screen, so I was just like, are they gonna do it? I wasn't 100% fully worried that they were gonna kill off Tech, but the thought was there. I'll admit. But yeah, so seeing him come out and shooting the other guy on the gun, I was just like, sweet. So anyway, then we go on to Hunter and Wrecker. They have escaped from the drop. They go out the secret hangar. And then they go through the streets. The captain, who is one of them, and that's who I'm trying to find his name. Like, it's on the tip of my tongue, and I've forgotten it. And people are going to yell at me, but I absolutely loved him because, again, this is a highly competent officer. He was the one who said dump the escape pods when they were stuck on the cargo lift. He was the one who, essentially found them and had all the tactics to close in on them. And yeah, but anyway, so a group of soldiers are closing in toward Wrecker and Hunter's position. They try to go for some separatist tanks. They're shut down. They're offline. But Wrecker, in credit to his intelligence, he goes and he charges up a cannon and blasts the air support of these things. And it's just like, this, again, it had another really dark path here. I mean, this is, at this point, they are no longer just stunning. They're still stunning with their, blasters and so forth. But I mean, like, they're realizing that, I don't know if it's a realization or if it's just acceptance or whatnot, but, clones are dying now. Like, they are actually killing clones. Like, if you think about it, like, you have Hunter stunning them while Wrecker is just blasting this cannon at them, and it's just like, wow. So anyway, they get into their ship. They get away. They have to blast a few ships off their thing. But yeah, they manage to uh, essentially get away. And then we go back to the cliffside where Ramar helps Tech uh, up, and he essentially ties what's left of the cord, rope, whatever, and throws it down to Echo and Omega. But then while the ship gets shot down, and that's fine, but then the Imperial speeders, they go and they run into the two speeders that this thing is braced upon. So it starts going over. They're going down. Ramar gets on the speeder, backs it up, and them to safety. And then the ship gets there. They get on the ship. Ramar gives her the toy, and off they go. And then you have that heart-to-heart moment with Omega and Echo, where it's just like, I really just wanted to make things better for us. And, an acknowledgement that, yeah, she is responsible for all this. And Echo's just like, it's a good thing we did too, because otherwise we would have been fighting for the Empire. And that they made the right choice. And it was really touching. It really was. I did enjoy it. And then you go back to the planet where Vice Admiral Rampart has made an appearance, and he is talking with the captain, who I have forgotten his name, and it upsets me. I'm really sorry. But I'm sure most of you know who it is. But yeah, he essentially is there because of the report that said that was element of Clone Force 99 survival. And he pretty much brings up that if Tarkin ever found out about it, it would ruin his career, possibly his life. So he told him to submit another report without Troop 99's mention. And the commander, he's just like, I will not falsify an official report. And Rampart just blasts him. He's just like, I will. And he tries to jump forward, but yeah, I mean, he gets blasted and then falls off the side of the thing down the cliff. It's really dark. It was, yeah, but I enjoyed it. So once again, 8 out of 10. We're at a strong start. I still have some concerns, but honestly, really strong start. Better than I thought it was going to be. Looking forward to what they have here. So anyway, that is me for Season 2, Episode 2. I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. See ya.